Good afternoon, everybody. I'm audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes.
A warm afternoon to all of you. On the occasion of this EFDP, organized by Satara College of Pharmacy, Satara, and well supported by D-Batu TEQIP3, we have gathered here. I welcome all of you for this virtual inaugural function. To grace this occasion, we are having with us Dr. S.B. Devsarkar sir, who is a professor and dean D-Batu Lonere. Dr. H.K. Abhyankar sir, executive director, KJ Group of Institute, and he was formerly associated with PIT Pune. Dr. Ajay Deshmukh sir, director, Center for Industrial Mathematics, Bhaskaracharya Pratishthan, Pune. Mr. Satish Ranade sir, industry expert, KPIT Cummins. Dr. N.H. Alurkar sir, principal, Satara College of Pharmacy, Satara, and in charge dean, Faculty of Pharmacy, D-Batu Lonere. I also welcome all the principals of various pharmacy institutes as well as engineering institutes who have virtually gathered here, and all the faculty members throughout Maharashtra who have registered for this EFDP, and my colleagues. Welcome you all. Now I request Honorable Principal of our institute, Dr. N.H. Alurkar sir, to say a few words on this occasion. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon to one and all. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon to one and all. At the outset, I welcome all the resource persons, and I'm thankful to Dr. S.B. Devsarkar sir, who is coordinator for TechWip3, and for the first time giving us the permission to conduct the program under the auspices of TechWip3. So I am very much thankful to Honorable Dr. S.B. Devsarkar sir on behalf of our society and our college. I welcome all the resource persons, Dr. H.K. Abhyankar sir, who is the Executive Director of KJ Group of Institutes. I also welcome Dr. S.B. Devsarkar sir. I welcome Dr. Satish Ranade sir, who is industry expert, and he was working formerly with Wipro as well as PIT Cummins. And I also welcome Dr. Ajay V. Deshmukh sir, who is Director, Center for Industrial Mathematics, Bhaskaracharya Pratishthan, Pune. As the time is very less, I expect that all these resource persons will surely add something to our new education policy information, whatever we have with us. This new education policy has been declared by central government, and everybody is going to see the changes that are being carried out under national education policy or new education policy. In short, we used to call it as NEP. And all these resource persons are going to throw the light on what are the things that are going to happen under new education policy in the coming years in our country. So this new education policy has opened the doors for so many aspects. Those aspects will be covered by these resource persons in coming few hours. So once again, I welcome all the resource persons and all the delegates for this program on behalf of our society as well as our college. Thank you. Over to you, Suryavanshi sir.
Thank you very much, sir. By this, I declare that this virtual inauguration has been over, and we are right now moving towards the first session. I request Honorable Dr. Surke sir to proceed with the first session. Over to Surke sir.
Thank you very much, sir. So in the first session, we have a resource person, Dr. H.K. Abhyankar sir. He has completed his BE in electrical, ME in control systems, PhD in the management. He is having the experience of principal and vice president at VIT Pune. He also holds the post of the dean and Professor Emeritus at TMV, Pune, and presently working as an Executive Director at KJEI. Worked as a research guide for the PG as well as PhD student, and he is honored and awarded with the several awards like a Best Engineering College Principal Award by IST in 1999, PRA Maha Entrepreneur Award in 2009, then Lifetime Achievement Award in MERS MIT Pune, and felicitated by Pune Municipal Corporation for the contribution in the technical education, and significant contribution award by the Rotary Club in 2001. Near about 50 papers are published in national and international research journal and the conferences, and a book is on his credit. He visited near about 16 countries during his work period and in various continents. So with this short introduction, I invite our resource person, please guide on the topic, and over to you, sir. Abhyankar, sir, over to you.
Good afternoon, organizers and
Sir, you are muted, sir. Sir, please unmute yourself.
hello.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Right now you are.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope all the participants have joined. I'm extremely happy to be a part of this faculty development program organized under the auspices of Technical Education Quality Improvement Program funded by the World Bank. And now it is in the third phase over last 15 years. The goal of National Education Policy for National Development is the area of faculty development program, and I'm going to talk to you about the role of teachers. With the new education policy, how it is going to affect the teaching learning process, what are the opportunities for the teachers, and how are we going to get benefited. At the same time, what are the challenges for the forthcoming teachers is going to be my topic. I'm thankful to organizers who introduced me to all of you, and I thought I will just run through a couple of slides. I personally think the teaching community is one of the most important community where all of us, we have to be careful about it. And therefore, I have been always talking about teaching community. That's how my lecture today is for the role of teachers. I do not know if the internet connection is disturbing to all of you, but I hope you continue to hear me and I am audible even now. I have a couple of books to my credit, and one of the important books is a guide to all the teachers. How to become a good teacher is my topic of interest, and therefore I'm going to talk to you about the teaching profession in general. Very few of us really study what is the higher education system in the country. Since I have visited many countries, more than 40 countries, including Europe, US, Canada, Korea, and so on, China, I have seen that the affiliating type of structure which is present in our country right from British rule is not existing anywhere else. At least in all advanced countries, every institute is a degree awarding institute, which is likely to happen with the new education policy in our country. We have universities to which we find that in every state university
Hello, sir.
Please unmute.
Unmute yourself, sir. You're not audible.
friends, allow me to know if I am audible because the host is muting me
No, sir.
again and
Now you are audible.
but
You are audible now.
please don't mute my mic. Otherwise, the one who is controlling there probably is muting mic. Then I don't know when I am not audible. So I'm
विनोद मोकळे सरांचं
कृपया
Sir, you are audible, sir.
हा माझा माईक फक्त म्यूट करू नका. परत परत मला मेसेज येतोय माझा माईक म्यूट केला आहे म्हणून. मला म्यूट केलं तर मी काही करू शकणार नाही. हॅलो.
Sir, you are audible, sir.
Wonderful, thank you. So, although we have only 20% students who are enrolling at the age when they should have joined higher education, we find that even today we have 53,000 colleges in the country. Indira Gandhi National Open University in the country is the university where largest number of students in the world are enrolled. 35 lakh students, something which is unheard of by anywhere in the world. We know that 50% of the youth in our country, and that number will still go on for next 5 years. It means that our universities will all the time be flooded with the students. But then the issue is
Sir, please unmute yourself.
I do not know how I am getting muted without touching the screen. Anyway, am I audible now? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. So academic autonomy is thought of the solution to all these problems in 1986, and therefore many institutions have started working towards it. Academic autonomy allows the teachers to design curriculum, implement it as per their requirement. They assess the students, they declare the results, and slowly new education policy will allow every institution to be a degree awarding institution. The quality of education will be assessed in terms of national accreditation agency or National Board of Accreditation, so on and so forth. And therefore, this new education policy is going to give you a lot of freedom for the teachers. And there is, remember, a lot of freedom to the students also. They can join one course, leave that course, acquire credit, use those credit elsewhere. And I do not know how we are going to cope up with this, because this is going to, for some time, people would be wondering how one student who was not there last year, how can we teach them now, etc. We have never been understanding as a teacher what is our actual job. We think that find the curriculum, find the textbooks, go through the textbooks and start teaching according to curriculum. But our job is little beyond that. To impart knowledge as per curriculum is one thing, no doubt about it. To impart knowledge as per the requirement of the program output or course outcome is one thing. To impart the skills, especially in technical education like engineering or pharmacy, imparting skills is extremely important. But at the same time, remember, teacher's main role is to impart values. All teachers are supposed to be such people in the society who talk the truth, who never lie, who give the correct information, etc., etc. Actually, anybody who can teach is considered to be a teacher. Now, in our country, the qualifications of the teacher are defined generally by the pay commissions which are set up by this every 10 years. I have been fortunate to have gone through several pay commissions. I started off with third pay, fourth pay, fifth pay, sixth pay, seventh pay. And remember, there won't be any eighth pay commission now. With the new policy that you are talking about, the teachers will be free to move from one place to another, will have lots of opportunities, and get ready to acquire, utilize those opportunities. Actually, remember, the quality term is a deceptive term. Quality means to satisfy customers' requirements. And in educational institutions today, if we find that 95% of the students in the country have enrolled with private institutions. And private institution means those institutions, as per Supreme Court, which run on the tuition fees paid by the students. And therefore, the students pay the fees and thus the institutions run. So students are the customers who pay, and they are also the paymasters or the teachers. Over the past few generations, I am going to narrate to you what is my experience about teaching community. The teachers who were teaching me, and prior to that, I would call them as past generation. The teachers who joined teaching profession with me and for next 20 years, I'll call them as my generation. The teachers who are listening to me, maybe who have joined teaching profession after 1995 or 2000, I would call them as your generation. And remember, the next generation is the teachers who are joining since this year onwards. The past generation teachers were all the time worshipped by the students. The students were also taken care of by their gurus for years together. Once a student is always a student for a teacher, and the teacher used to love that student and help that student. In my generation, most of the teachers were teaching at one particular place. Hardly they used to leave one place to another place. And these teachers were either working at native place or the place of their choice. there used to be a tremendous peer pressure, because if other teachers are teaching good, those teachers also have to do very well. They had to impart adequate knowledge to the students, but they were always satisfied, contented. About salaries, they were not worried. They were taking extreme care of their students. But your generation, what I have seen, I find that majority of the teachers are forced to teach. They have not taken this profession by choice, but they think that it is very convenient. They can easily get this job, etc., etc. They are not settled in this job. They try to change the institute. They move from one institute to another. The training part as a teacher is not there. They are just qualified. The resourcefulness of them is restricted. And I believe that these teachers are all the time looking at themselves. The next generation teachers, now you have to be careful about it. These next generation teachers will have to teach this profession. They will come by choice only. There would be a tremendous competition for teaching positions in the country. They will have to be extremely resourceful. They would have to be well trained. Their attitude will be totally professional. And we find that the students in the past, although they were having full faith in teachers, respected teachers, same thing happened in my generation also. The past generation was keen to learn. Our generation probably was keen to acquire knowledge. And your generation probably was keen to get a degree. The next generation will not be happy with the outcome that you are seeing. If we look at teaching methods, teaching learning, in my generation, the classroom was the main focus area. In your generation, probably, you were all curriculum-based teaching, exam-oriented teaching. And in next generation, it will be only multi-mode teaching, having various methods. Therefore, the outcome of all the four generations, if you look at them, my past learning was the outcome. My generation, knowledge was the outcome. Your generation in teaching would be degree in is the output. Whereas the next generation will not be happy with this innovation they would be interested in looking for. Therefore, before I conclude, I would like to request all the teachers to have an attention and listen to this carefully. Please note, the job security is going to go away. It is already not there for last few years, but hereafter, don't think of job security. Excellent teachers will only make money. Others will just survive. Teacher-student ratio will be, don't look at the standards. It will go 1:100 or beyond. The teaching learning, more often it will be online. Most of the visiting faculty would be talking to students across the country in various institutions. Same teachers may be teaching because they would be having excellent knowledge about a particular area. Institutions which are set up, they may provide only practicals in their laboratories, and industry will have to provide hands-on training to the students. Laboratories of your institutions can only allow the students to do good projects. And if they are unable to do good projects, students are not going to come to your institution. Every college will have to have incubation center, which will allow the students to set up their own business, which we call up as startup. And therefore, the next generation teachers will have different qualities than what we are talking about. Every teacher will be having a specialized knowledge of a specific domain area. They will have to be very dynamic. Their responses will have to be instantaneous. If somebody sends you a message, if you don't answer it within few minutes, maybe they will choose somebody else. Continuous research will be essential for every teacher. Year after, all the teachers will be extremely busy, but they will have to be available 24/7 to all the students and to everybody. What does it mean? What do you do now? You are already in teaching profession and you have another 20-25 years to go. What can you do? My request to all of you is please wake up, get ready, start working. Choose your domain area, start researching. You must do excellent research. You must find out what best you can do. Can you find out something new? Innovation is always possible, but you have to work hard. I wish all of you all the best. My best wishes to with everybody. For any guidance, I am always available. And I conclude, I have some blogs, hemanthabyangar.blogspot. Please refer to them. I have been writing to guide all of you repeatedly. Thank you very much for inviting me. I thank the principal, the management, the members of Batu for allowing me to talk to you, share my views. I conclude. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.
So thank you very much, sir, for your guidance for our new teachers, and hopefully it will be very, very helpful in coming future for we type of teachers. Okay, and obviously it is going to be very helpful for implementing the new and innovative ideas in the new education policy. Okay, so your guidance is always required in the future for we people. So thank you very much, sir, for your valuable information, and thank you very much.
I'll say goodbye to you. I'm around. If you have any questions, I'll answer them.
Okay. Suryavanshi, sir.
Yes, sir. Participants, if anybody wants to ask any question.
Thank you then. Let me say goodbye. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now I request Dr. Gilda, sir, to start with the second session.
Good afternoon. I, Dr. Gilda, welcome all the delegates and dignitaries for the second session of online FDP on role of National Education Policy for National Development. I extend my warm greetings and welcome Dr. S.P. Devsarkar, sir, the renowned teacher, scientist, and innovator. It's my really honor to introduce Devsarkar, sir, who is a professor and dean at D. Batu Lonere with Department of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering. He had published several research papers in various international journals of high impact factor. His research interests include signals and systems, sensors. With this very brief introduction, I would like to request Devsarkar sir to guide us on the topic, the National Education Policy. Please, sir. So over to you, sir. Devsarkar sir, over to you.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. My screen is audible to all of you, sir?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Yes,
Shall
sir,
I
please,
proceed?
sir.
So very good afternoon to all the dignitaries, resource persons, and my faculty colleagues. Honorable Dr. Alurkar, Dean of Pharmacy, respected teacher, Dr. Abhenkarji, my fellow colleague, Dr. Deshmukh, and coordinator of this workshop from Satara Pharmacy College of Engineering, Satara Pharmacy College, and my dear participants. I am here going to present here in a short span the National Higher Education Policy, which is being prepared and placed before the Parliament by the Kasturirangan Committee. I'm mentioning here only a few glimpses of this policy, which are really helpful for the teachers to prepare on or to join on this education, which is really essentially required to embed in the education system. What is expected here? So what is expected here? The universities or institutions should work as a knowledge generating base stations instead of disseminating the information like tutors. And so the entire policy document, which is talking about the quality and excellence, as we know that the Indian education system is going through a very bad patch. It is mentioned here on this particular screen. All the universities are working on examination syndromes. The cartoon which represent here, the pictorial representation of recent university systems, and which is responsible for the concern which are shown on account of failure of quality in the education system. It is rightly mentioned here in this slide that for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same examination. So the question is, please climb the tree, climb that tree. The representation of animals, nothing but it is the stakeholders, different stakeholders. The stakeholder may be from industry, the stakeholder may be from the institution, or the teacher himself, or the different graduates. So this is the reflection which is talking about the examination syndrome, where the quality is missing. The different components are also found missing in the quality education. The first and foremost thing which is mentioned by the ASME survey 2019, 50% of class 5th standard students were unable to even read the text meant for the student or meant for the standard 3. Lagging in basic learning and numeracy skills. And examination patterns are based on the rote learnings. Complete missing of innovation in teaching and learnings. And increased dropout from the schooling level, which shows that the GER, the gross enrollment ratio, the student reaching to the high school level are not more than 25% or 30% of the input in the primary level. So this is a great concern, and which is definitely causing some problems on the quality of Indian education. There are other things also mentioned here. The inadequate funding support in the education system, which is referred as the only 0.7% with reference to GDP is only invested in the education system, higher education system. And 3 to 4%, 2 to 3% in the entire education system. So if you compare the developed countries like USA or Germany or even Australia or Singapore, or even you can surprisingly see to the Bangladesh also, their contribution in terms of supporting financial supports to the institutions or in the education system is more than the Indian education systems. I think this is the one of the inequity which was found by the Kasturi Committee. The growing culture of working in isolation. So nobody want to work together. Nobody want to connect the outside world. And everyone think that, yes, I am doing best. So that culture, growing culture in education system also create a lot of problems. Missing of good governance. Either education is regulated by many agencies. You look that the entire education is a regulatory type of education. The institutions are directly controlled by the societies they belongs. The society belongs to the university. University controls. Then the state government controls the university. Then the AICT, UGC, and there are many regulatory bodies which are controlling the education. And this will be causing a lot of turbulence or the disturbances at the level of institution head for governing this particular concept of quality education in the system. Most of the time they are spent, most of the time is spent in administration. And so the less liberties to the institutions or to the universities for working on the quality education. Disconnect from philanthropic groups and industry because there is no encouragement found to bring these non-profit groups to join in the education system and support the education systems. Industries are far away from the Indian education systems or particularly universities, Indian universities. So no question of research, extension activities, no question of IPRs, patents, and the research contributions which are more responsible for the earning source or contributing in the GDPs. So growing concern of consumption of products and commodity rather than the production. So this country is known for the others as a country of consumption. And so this is because we are missing the bus on account of the various aspects. And that major aspect is that we don't have awareness on IPRs, patents, copyrights, research, and product designs. The skills are not well respected in the society. The very downstream activities are seen on these skills. But see, the skill doesn't mean that working on a floor. Skills to be nurtured at different levels. And that particular points are also missing in the education system. No awareness on IPR patent, which I rightly mentioned just before. And there is total imbalance between the brain drain and brain gain. And missing of twinning arrangement means working together with the external groups or external agencies or with the industries or the nearby institution in clustering mode. The concept meant to mention here that imbalance of brain drain and brain gain means, see, all these years, best institutions in India are not more than 5%. 95% population is residing on the various common institution side. It doesn't mean that this particular 90% population residing on the common campuses or in the university campuses doesn't have a brain. But the brain drain concept, which is found in different IITs or IIMs or the top best institutions, where the 95% of funding is used for this 5% institution, and the 95% institution are only getting 5% funding. This total imbalance has a main cause of these brain drain and brain gain imbalances. To mention it here, the policymakers, they have given a thrust and consider that the knowledge or investment in knowledge which pays the best interest forever, which is the quote of the well-known educationalist from USA, that Benjamin Franklin. That particular note is taken very seriously by this Kasturirangan committee. And Kasturirangan committee also mentioned that the education policy cannot grow and exist in isolation. The education system needs radical change, not fine-tuning. It is meaning that it is giving the intent meaning that we have to be very fast to adopt the changes in terms of the quality of education, the changes which were brought into the global education, the changes on account of excellence, the changes on account of the other aspects of joining together. I think the all kinds of concerns have seriously shown by the document which is prepared under the National New Higher Education Policy under the chairmanship of Kasturirangan report. And very importantly, the National Higher Education Policy, and here National Higher Education Council is formed under this particular policy. And first time after the independence, the chairman of this committee is the Prime Minister, which was not seen earlier. So the importance of education is seriously seen by this particular policy, because everybody knows the education, if it is of a quality type, it generates the economy. And if the economy on the higher side, which will be again pumped into the education, and the cyclic process continue, and the quality will be observed at all the time. The access to education must be seen from the perspective, and these points are included in this higher education. Technology and philanthropic approaches must be a integral part of this education system. Maybe digitization, bringing this all concept of technology in delivery, in creation of the resources at the institution level itself. Philanthropic approaches means non-profit organizations must be brought into the education systems to support the quality education approaches. Effective use of financial resources. This is also useful, because now in this particular policy, only a single window support policy is recommended, and that is called as a National Higher Education Research Council. So that our national NRF, National Research Foundation, under that one window only, now the institution will receive the funding. And the importance of beauty of this particular higher education policy, that hence onward, there is no differentiation between private and government organizations or private and government institutions. So based on the quality or based on some parameters, the institution will receive supports. And that's why it is mentioned here that effective use of financial tools or resources will be made available to the institutions, those who governs the quality. Social, liberal, and many other aspects of society in terms of the value education, in terms of the liberal education, which will be brought into the education system as a learning compulsory component in the education system. The demography for the nation building is also brought into this particular system, giving the importance to the ancient knowledge. Typically here to mention that the knowledge in Ayurveda or knowledge which the Indian continent has got in terms of the pharmaceutical concepts or on the pharmaceutical ground, this will be brought into the policy for giving more importance, rather than only consider this as only a teaching pattern methodology. They brought it into the consideration that this kind of ideas will be supported financially, and they want to convert with the innovative approaches, bringing the incubation on the center, the institution level or at the university level. The incubations will be supported by the ICR fundings or even the funding to the national level fundings. Then they will be incubated properly. Then incubation will provide the products, and product designs will be supported by the research component. So this cyclic process is supported or is given in this particular policy. So very importantly, just before it is mentioned in the policy that technology can become the wings that will allow the educational world to fly farther and faster than even before. Though the entire policy, maybe which will be talking about the primary education to secondary educations to colleges or higher education, or more than that, they want the policy describe that technology will be the integral part of the education system, because the education which is designed or defined here, the policy where it is defined here based on the different four concepts, major concepts. Particularly, this is referred as the basic pillars of new education policy. The first, the entire policy document, which talks about bringing the excellence and quality reforms by any suggested means. It is also equally important looking at the social fabric of the Indian continent, the equal access and socio-economic cohesion, that will be the important part. So providing education to all, the access to the knowledge must be available to the all in spite of the social background, or in spite of the lower economical structures available in the society. So they want that the education must be available to everyone. And that's the reason here in the older policy, the right to education was only up to the 10th standard. Now they have increased the right to education to the 12th standard. Expansion is expected in both ways, that vertical and horizontal aspects. Vertical means the research component is added with the innovative approach of converting into the research, incubation, and products, wherein the verticals are working, particularly the research groups are working on this level, and like a PhD or postdoctoral fellowship programs, the institutions are offering. That component is called as the vertical component. And horizontal component, where the different type of certificate programs, diploma programs, degree programs, or postgraduate programs, these programs are provided under the expansion, means by following the population density, the institution will be added as and when needed. So that this particular policy which talks about the expansion, definitely employability is a serious concern, and the recent observations which mention that only 20 to 25% of graduates are only employable because of missing the various sector-specific skill components while they are learning in the education system. And it is very rightly mentioned and provided here that the sector-specific skills nowadays, now in the new policy, will become the inherent part of the education policy, without which you can't go ahead. And that's the reason here, the vocational education or the internships are added as the learning component at the high school levels. We are talking in the university level that internships and other vocational, the skill components at the higher education level. But now the policy suggests to have this kind of additions even at the schooling levels. Empowering the accountability, responsibility is again the central point of this particular policy, because they want to make almost all institutions, those working in the higher education umbrella, to be autonomous very soon. And the important aspect is also mentioned it here that by 2030-2035, the policy wants that no institution should work as a affiliating institution, or university should not be an affiliation university. University should be the university on the campuses, not to go and provide the affiliations. And it is meaning that the institution has to earn the autonomy and provide the degree at their own. And that's why it is referred as the institution will be autonomous, provided, and also that should be contributed or accounted for, providing the accountability and responsibility, because freedom is given at the institution level. The new policy documents, there are some few glimpses which I want to mention in a short. The schooling begins at the age of 3 years. Before it was Anganwadi. These are not a part of the education systems or school education system. But now, hence onward, after 3 years age, the boy or girl should be on the campus of the schools, wherein the first 5 years, the boy has to spend as a foundation program. During this foundation program, the boy will learn 3 years as Anganwadi, as of what right now they are learning, and the next 2 years they will get the first and second standards. The next 3 years component is a preparatory or preparatory state of the education, wherein the standard third, fourth, and fifth. This will be the third, that is the preparatory model. Middle after +3, and the secondary stage is 9, 10, and 11, 12. So here, very importantly, it is mentioned that 9, 10, 11, 12, the semester pattern will be included, and for 6, 7, 8, vocational education component will be added, and up to standard 5th, the education will be given in the mother tongue. And the 3-language series is also proposed in the schooling education, rightly adding one language as a language, foreign language. So now, see, we want employability. We want the global connect of your graduates. So it is very essential to learn the foreign languages, and it is rightly mentioned by the philosophers or the scientists that the language are learned before the schooling education, or until at the age of 18 years or 16 years of age. So rightly, the policy talks about of adding the international languages in the curriculums. Right of education is increased to 12th standard. The dedicated arithmetic and reading hours are given specially or reserved specially in the schooling levels. Logical thinking and languages skills are added as integral component at the high school levels. Vocational courses and semester systems is also planned in the high school systems only. So in all, the policy which talks about the concept of having the education in a learning centric approach instead of the teacher centric or student centric. The definition of the learning centric means that learner may be a learner at all the times, whether he is a student, he is a teacher, or he is in industry, or he is anyway in the society. So the education should provide as a learning centric education, means education as a lifelong learning tool. And because of this, the component of the teaching learning is changed into the modernalities by adding the innovative approaches of teaching and learning in the education system. The meaning is here that to make the education affordable or the cost affordable and covering these volumes, it is very essentially required to add the component of innovative approaches along with research in the education system itself. Lifelong learning will be a continuous. Sometimes you have to unlearn, sometimes you have to relearn. The process of learning, unlearning, and relearning will be a continuous throughout the life of the learner. And the reason is here that technology is moving with so fast speed. Every year, the technology is changing. And so the content of technology must be understood by the learner. And so he must be ready to relearn he should be unlearn the old thing and try to relearn the new things. So that capability one has to achieve. And to maintain this particular quality of education, the learning or the lifelong learning concepts are introduced in the education system. There is again the important component which is added here in the education system as EG exit and EG entry. This is very alarming situation to the ordinary institution, because to mention it here, hello,
Yes, sir, you are audible.
I'm audible, sir.
Yes, yes.
So shall I wait for a minute so that if somebody has any question, because continuing with the speed, I think it is difficult.
So participants are requested to put questions or queries in the chat box.
So shall I go ahead, sir?
Please, sir.
So see, easy exit and easy entry is meaning that the boy who is admitted, suppose at the pharmaceutical institution or your college, the boy will complete 1 year and he will ask for certificate. If you don't want to continue the education in your institution, or he don't want to continue his education, so let him, the system should allow to exit by offering a certificate to the learner. Now the industry, those who are acquainting or those who are requesting are required, those are in need of this kind of certificate, these particular graduates who learn only for 1 year will be accommodated in the industry. The same graduate, suppose, want to have the education for next 2 years, then the institution should provide a diploma. He will continue for 3 years, he will be awarded with a degree. He want to continue with 4 years, the honorary degree should be provided. So easy exit and easy entry is meaning here is that the boy is having a freedom to continue for year or 2 or 3 or 4 with the same institution, or after having a certificate program 1 year, he may join other institution also. The meaning is here that those who have retention policies, particularly those who are having the system governs or the institution having a quality education, providing quality education system, these institutions are only flooded with the volumes of the students, and other has to face the problem on account of retention of the students, not the retention of the faculty, but retention of the students too. The education is also making it here the use of the integrated approach of technology, means adding the artificial intelligence, virtual reality, mixed reality, and augmented reality. Actually, this is the content generations used for the transmitting the quality, the education in the classrooms, or imparting this particular curriculum in the classroom. Now it is expected that teachers should involve in creating his own content. It is expected in this particular policy. How or why way which is supported, because it requires tremendous amount of financial support. It requires the ICT infrastructure. It requires the best quality laboratories and so on. But after having this kind of infrastructure, one should not deny to operate on this functional aspect suggested by the policy. The policy which also talks about the facility of credit banks, like what we deposit, what it is like a bank, as what we are crediting or depositing the money in the bank, and then we are withdrawing that. So similar kind of facility also made it available to student, that throughout the 10 years or 15 years, the boy can earn the credit and add the credit whenever he is claiming for the employment. This same policy, that is a science, technology, engineering, arts, and management, these are all components of the multidisciplinary learning concept, comes under the multidisciplinary concepts, will become hence onward the integral part of the graduate education. And so the institution has to prepare well on to provide this kind of facility in their institution. It is definitely will ask for number of teachers, more number of teachers. Then how to support the number of teachers? So that is the big question, though the policy mentioned. But see, government has declared the policy. Government will see something to bring it this kind of reformation in the system, as what rightly mentioned that the 0.7% of GDP, which was invested in the higher education, now that component will be increased to the percent 4 to 5%, or even up to 6%, as like what USA and Singapore, or even the Germany, the contribution in the higher education is to the tune of 7% of their GDP. These are the all glimpses which are mentioned, and I will come to the important points. That the new education policies, which include STEMs, which I have mentioned it here just before, design, thinking, digital literacy, and the skills which are needed for the 21st century, along with the project-based learning will be the important additions to the new policy. Tinkering spaces, Atal innovations, incubations hubs, and experimental learning through research. So these types of syllabus will be introduced in the higher education systems. So tremendous amount of energy is required to prepare the teachers, to prepare the institutions, to prepare the universities in a large way. And so hence the teacher has to play a great role to make the policy a more successful one. The another important component is also suggested and made it mandatory also many times here. And this is called as the LPG policy: liberalization, privatization, and globalization. Liberalization comes under the autonomy, full-fledged autonomy to the institution, like a financial autonomy or academic autonomy. Privatization means allowing the industry or private partners along with the government to build in an institutions or to support the education system. And globalization means the globalization means allowing the education to take part in the international levels. Means couple of years the boy will complete here in Indian institution, and couple of years of the same course he can join in the other international institution. So that kind of freedom will be given to the learners. And it is very rightly already mentioned by the influential policy which was made under the liberalization, which talks about more on the economical sides or the market side, that Manmohan Singh regimes under the Manmohan Singh when he was a prime minister, he brought the policy of liberalization in financial management. But now this policy will be equally functional, made equally functional in the higher education also. And very recently we have seen the policy's impact, like the PPP model, public-private partnership model, which has come up, like the institution like a triple ITs, Institution of Information, Indian Institute of Information Technologies, ISERs, NISERs, IISTs, NISTs, and many more institutions are coming under this particular privilege of LPG policy. And the new policy on higher education also has given emphasis on this aforesaid feature in a big way. They want the private companies, private industries, the philanthropic group should be made a part of education system. It is rightly mentioned just before that the education and industry should not work in isolation. They should come together and join hands in hand and work under the twinning activity to provide or support this policy document. I will continue for next 5 minutes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure.
5 or 10 minutes.
Okay, sir. No issue.
Shall I go for 10 minutes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure.
Yeah. See, the different institutions now are expected to be categorized under 3 different categories in the higher education. The first is called as a college. College means college having an autonomy, that they will provide a degree, but degree to undergraduate programs only. Now we have seen many colleges, they are offering the diploma program, degree program, degrees, master's degrees, or even the PhD centers, recognized centers are allowed to the colleges. Now in this particular policy, categorically, colleges means colleges, those have to offer only the undergraduate program, and they should provide the quality teaching and quality teaching only. They should not contribute for higher master programs or research program. They should not continue on the same campus. And it is expected that to the number more than 40,000 to 50,000 institutions they want to prepare as a best high quality teaching focused colleges. And these colleges will provide input to the teaching universities. The teaching universities, they want to build around 2,000 to 3,000 universities, teaching universities, where only the postgraduate programs are run. And these teaching universities provide the postgraduate program, and the outcome or the pass out from these postgraduate programs from the teaching university will be a part of research universities. And the research universities are focused on the world class research activities only. And it is targeted to have in India more than 200 to 300 of research university in the next 10 years. So this is the 10 years data. It is expected from the Indian continents to convert these particular institutions like colleges, teaching universities, and research universities. And this is equally important here that the college will convert, the college itself want to convert into teaching university, then the component which are essentially required for teaching university must be along with the colleges. The teaching university want to become, so college become a teaching university may become a research university, and vice versa is also possible. The research universities doesn't follow the research norms, it will be get down and converted into teaching universities. It means that the doctorate programs will be removed from these campuses. The teaching universities are focused on postgraduate programs, and if they are not fulfilling the requirement as laid down by the policy, this institution will become, teaching universities will become a college. Means teaching university should converting into college, means the teaching universities are not allowed to continue the postgraduate programs, and the colleges means they are allowed to have only degree programs, undergraduate programs, and they are not following the certain parameters as what laid down by the policy, they will be closed. The low standard colleges will be closed gradually. Means the opportunity given to the individual institution to move upward or to move downward based on their quality concerns, issues. And so these particular institution categories are particularly worked on a typical imperatives. And the imperatives, first imperative is the social imperative. Social imperative means practicing and use of technology where it is performed. Actually, the social imperative means institutions are college in the category of colleges. This institution has to provide the practicing and use of technologies to their graduates, means offering the foundation programs through the education hubs and also to the masses, because number of students admitted in the social imperative structures are more in numbers than the university, teaching universities and the research universities. And it is expected that this type of colleges should provide the platform of digital learning in a big way, like a Swayam. And this is responsible, this particular category of institution, like college institutions, they are responsible to improve the gross enrollment ratio. The gross enrollment ratio as of today is not more than 25. And by 2035, it is expected by the policy to have it to the 60% of this. So doubling of GER within next decade. So it's a really tough job. The second is the economic imperative institutions, where the extension activities are carried out. The meaning is that this is the category as equal to the teaching universities, where the sector-specific skill development programs are taught to the learners. Career-oriented institutions are covered under this, and the employability is the main concern of this particular the second type of imperative institution. And the last is the imperative, which perhaps talks about the intellectuals, mean generating the IPRs or research, consultancies, copyrights, and many more things which are connected to the research or knowledge generations. And these institutions, these particular imperative, intellectual imperatives are really concerned with the research universities. So with this particular point, I have mentioned that multiple exit and multiple entry to the student. So certificate award after 1 year, diploma after 2 years, and degree will be after 3 or 4th year. An honorary degree or dual degree or integrated degrees or minor or major, that will be given to the student who is offering a program for more than 4 years. Here, very important announcement is made here that hence onward, there is no B.Ed program will be in existing. The B.Ed colleges will going to close down very soon, and there is no B.Ed degree offer to any graduate. The graduate is from science, engineering, technology, pharmacy, or anywhere. The B.Ed degree is not allowed. And to become a teacher in these technological areas, or the professional areas, or in art, commerce, and science areas, the degree will be integrated in a way that the last year of degree, wherein the skills which are required for the teacher are engraved or added, and that particular degree holder students are only allowed to apply for a teacher's position, whether it is at the schooling level, or at a high school level, or at the college level, or at a university level, or at a research university level. Those who want to be in the teaching areas, they have to follow this kind of degrees. There are mention of many apex bodies, I think, which will take a long time, and perhaps whenever I will come for next time, I will explain the different apex bodies which are represented under this education policy. I think till the point which I have explained, the in short, the glimpses of higher education policies. These are only talking about the very fast reformation into education system. But I am doubtful because the de-affiliation will begin by next decade, means after 5 to 10 years, no university will be an affiliating type of university. The role of university now, suppose if you quote at the Batu will be de-affiliating their institution after 10 years. So Batu University will work as a university on campus, and these kind of education institutions are referred as the multidisciplinary research universities, because on the campus of Batu we have different programs. Right now we don't have any pharmaceutical or architecture, but very soon we are planning to have that program on the campus. Then the campus will provide the education in architecture, pharmaceutical sciences, then the management, hotel management, engineering and technology. So then it becomes a campus university providing the multidisciplinary learnings on the campus. So similar will be the case to other universities too. Now it is the role of the institution, it is the role of the teacher to go ahead and see that what kind of changes that we need to bring in ourselves to face the challenges which are thrown by this particular policy. So with this, I conclude my talk, and I wait for a couple of questions, if any, from the audience. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. So there is one question from the participant, that from which year new education policy will be implemented?
Very soon, mean by July, coming July, the policy has begun the implementation. Because see, the first and foremost, very recently, the parliament has passed the bill. It was before, it was only the draft. The bill is passed now, and the recommendations are accepted. Bill is passed. Implementation will begin immediately by the next academic year.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So is there any question from the audience?
And one another important component that which I missed to mention it here, that hence onward, the services of the teachers are no longer as the services like what we are enjoying the benefit. Like I am a permanent teacher of the university.
Yes.
No, hence onward, my as like what the American universities, the teacher's role, teacher's employment is also connected similarly, because we talk about the internalization or globalization or bringing this all reform and 360-degree feedback. And based on the quality, those who govern the quality will become a part of this education system. Otherwise, it is very difficult to cope up and to go along with the systems. So that is the reason 24/7 you must be a teacher. But on the other side, you will receive the recognition to become a teacher of not your institution, but also you will be teacher in the different institutions also. At the same time, you will receive the recognition at the national or international level also. So that way you can earn a lot. But however, if you are not fulfilling the requirement as what required by these quality norms, and if you are not accepted by the 360-degree feedback, this is being offered by the stakeholders, equally by your teacher, by your student, by your industry, the parent, and the government. Everybody is going to take the stack of your feedback, and based on the feedback only your services are continued. But the rewards are also there. Those who are doing well, they will receive more. And the last point is that ranking is not only to the institution and to the department. Hence onward, the ranking will be given to an individual faculty member also. This is the best faculty in the clinical sciences. This is the best faculty in the artificial intelligence. So that way, the recognition will be given to those groups or teachers, institutions, departments, subjects, core areas, and many more. Thank you, sir.
So it means the survival of the fittest.
Yeah, it's a survival of the fittest.
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
For enlightening us on the different dimensions of national education policy, which will help us to understand our role, exact role in national education policy for national development. Thank you once again, sir. Thank you, D. Batu, TakeWip, and Gauri Shankar Education Society, Satara College of Pharmacy, Satara. Okay, thank you once again. So I would like to request all the participants to put on their videos. We have to take a snapshot. All the participants are requested to put on their videos.
So anybody has any question, they can post it, sir.
Yes, sir. Participants are requested once again to post any queries or questions in the chat box.
Because during this short span, it is
video.
difficult.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the video. So with the due permission, so I would like to call upon Dr. Karande sir to take the charge for the next session. Over to you, Karande sir.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. Thank you, organizer, for giving me honor to introduce today's eminent speaker, Mr. Satish Ranade, sir. He is a passionate information technology expert and having 37 years of rich IT experience. He has completed BE Civil as well as BE Industrial Engineering. He was heading BFSI for IT firms and has involved in concept of commissioning. He was running a software services partnership firm for domestic market. He's having a very wide skill and expertise. He authored various books. He's also researchers. He applied for a patent in traffic management solution. He is also a vivid speaker and he delivered so many lectures on technology trends, and also he's a good soft skill trainer. His most important career highlight is that his work with the Wipro. He worked with Wipro as a general manager while while working with Wipro. He was shouldered responsibility for rolling out AI, NLP, ML, PA based solutions. Uh, as well as he is connected strongly with academia, and he is a member of Board of Studies, Symbiosis University. He is also adjunct faculty at SRTT College, appointed as a chairman of IAB Trinity COER. He worked as advisor to Symbiosis Open Education Society, as well as he is actively involved in syllabus designing of BSc, postgraduate diploma, as well as BTech. He is award recipient of water polo mountaineering as well as the badminton. He owns several state and national merit scholarships. He is also actively involved in conducting soft skill training, just like a workshop on presentation skill, how to choose a career, how to develop a technology awareness lectures. He is also involved in business trend driving technology, data sciences, and Internet of Things. Uh, uh, his today's topic is industrial collaboration, and hope all listeners will feel enriched with his words of wisdom. With this, I request Ranade sir to take the charge. Over to you, sir. Now, please, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. And hello, Dr. Devsarkar, meeting you online after a long time.
Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
So thank you for a very generous introduction, and thanks to both the college and DIBA2 for giving me an opportunity to speak on this forum. I think my topic is coming in a quite logical sequence after Dr. Devsarkar's elaborate discussion on the new education policy. And I also saw one question from Gayatri Kalote about the industrial collaboration and what we can do. So I thought this is the most apt topic now to discuss. Dr. Devsarkar also talked about the challenges of employing students because of the skills gap. So to certain extent, my presentation is going to discuss these topics, and hopefully you will get some answers to your questions. So with that brief introduction, let me share my screen with you. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. As I talked about in the introduction, that today, a lot of us talk about the problem of employment. So what I see is, there is a great opportunity with us. It's only a question of, whether we are equipped to take benefit of this opportunity. And, if I look at, some of the data points, just to confirm my belief that there are a lot of opportunities, particularly for the pharmacy graduates, diploma holders, in terms of the industrial growth trends, in terms of the FDI that are coming into, and the at a larger level, the Indian talent contribution to the overall pharmaceutical and biotech industry. So there are, some numbers I have mentioned. I am not going to go through each and every number. But the message I am trying to give is this is one of the fastest growing industry, as you could see that CAGR, that is cumulative annual growth ratio, is 18%. I guess this is probably number 2 or number 3 industry, next to the telecom, and even better than IT in terms of its growth percentage. So there are significant opportunities. The question is, are we equipped to take the benefit? And with the earlier topic about employment, I guess we are still not. And this session will try and address to see how we can bridge the gap. So what is the model to capitalize on this opportunity? So I see, as an engineer, I see that any structure, if I have to look at the stability, tripod is the most stable structure. And if I look at our academics, which is really a tripod with 3 legs, the industry, the institution, and the student. So if all of them play their respective part in this model, I'm sure we'll be able to address the skill gap. So what I expect, from the industry is, about 4 or 5 bullet points I have mentioned. And, just a 3-month internship or a MOU, that just, gets printed, signed, probably published, and then goes into some cupboard somewhere doesn't help us. So what we need to do is we need to go to the industry and request them to adopt some of our students right from the admission stage. So as soon as they take admissions, a particular industry, now it could be any manufacturing industry, either closer geographically to you or even otherwise, should adopt a few students. Now what that few means, I will come to that in a couple of next slides. And then they should offer some financial support during the 3-year or a 4-year degree course or a diploma course. Now, the reason for asking financial support is not that the student will need it, but more so from a commitment perspective. The fact that industry is paying some stipend, they are also committed to get the return from the student, and student also feel, the ownership of things that he is supposed to do. So that way, instead of a simple on request favor kind of a model, we want a strong professional model to be in place. The third thing is, obviously we expect industry to offer short-term and long-term internships during vacation and as part of the course. The fourth expectation is, participate in designing and conducting the bridge courses. We all of us know that what we teach in the college is probably necessary but not sufficient. From an engineering term, necessary and sufficient conditions is necessary but not sufficient. So to make it sufficient, obviously, there are gaps that need to be bridged, and these gaps could be bridged by conducting additional courses. Now I know that we have certain rules and regulations laid down by UGC, AICTE, and so on, and the respective governing bodies. But they don't say that you don't teach any additional things. What they say is you should minimum cover A, B, C, D, but they have no objection if you want to cover topic E. So we should look at what these gaps are, and I have some suggestions on that. And then lastly, they should guarantee employment on course completion, which I believe will come as a natural outcome. Because if you have invested in student, both in terms of teaching training and some financial support, they will obviously see students coming out well and very useful, very productive from day one as soon as they complete their education, either after 3 years or after 4 years. Then comes the institution, the second leg, another important leg. So institution should appoint a faculty member as a liaison officer. Now, I also heard Dev Sarkar saying that, faculty is going to be the fulcrum of this entire model because they only can make or break this. They have to go and talk to the industry, convince the industry on the model, facilitate things that are expected from the industry, and also be mentor to the students. I know today probably you have, faculty to mentor-mentee relationship. Maybe there is too much of a workload on an individual faculty member. So there is no harm in appointing somebody as an independent charge, or even make this as part of the TPO function. The second is the offer and conduct bridge courses in collaboration with the industry. In the top industry role, we saw that there are bridge courses that are required to bridge the gap between the competencies and skills. So these faculty members should facilitate these courses. Not only that, they should themselves attend these courses so they themselves upgrade in terms of their skill set and eventually reduce ongoing dependence on the industry. Because industry can do only so much for you. They can conduct, course in the first year or maybe second year, but following year, the faculty should be independently able to conduct these additional courses. From a student perspective, one of the minimum thing that is expected is they should commit at least 4 to 5 years of service once the industry makes them an offer after their graduation, so that industry believes and confirms that they get their return on their investment, to make himself or herself available all through the 3 or 4 years of studies. This is very important. So I am suggesting that this model, it is not mandatory for student willingness to work hard, and to that extent, their undertaking that they are available for additional learning courses, they are available for internships during vacations is all essential. Because we believe that, student, if they are not willing, the model will fail. And I'm very particular about this because I don't have a very good experience from students, particularly doing their internships, when in another institute I rolled out this model. They believe, and even their parents believe that, students are being stretched too much because they don't have vacation, they can't go on holidays with the student and so on. And even student feels that, even 75% attendance is becoming difficult, which is probably only close to 1/3 of what the industry expects. Industry expects roughly about 2,500 hours in a year, while the academics expect about 900 to 1,000 hours of presence on college, and students even find it difficult. So if they find difficult 1,000 hours in a year, how will they manage 2,500 hours of work literally overnight between they leave the college and they join the company? So that kind of commitment is very essential. And then, obviously complete the additional work that the industry may give, between semesters in terms of projects, research topics, assignments, which could be over and above their regular learning course. So with this model, one can say, yeah, this is all good, everything looks good on paper, but how do we go about it? So my next section now talks more about how we do the grassroots level work to identify which kind of students, to identify what bridge courses, and so on. So let's look at a working plan. I've been spending all my life, 40 years of my career, in delivering software projects. And we believe that if there is no plan, nothing will get executed. So I kind of prepare a guideline plan, and this is not like cast in stone, because this is more like a model that needs to be refined, modified, suitable to the individual college, individual industry, and so on. But let us look at, what is the fundamental need from a need perspective or a demand perspective. So we need to approach an industry to understand what could be their hiring pattern, maybe 4 years down the line or 3 years down the line when our student is going to complete his education. And depending on in what department they would hire students, we will look at some kind of quantification of this demand. So when I say they should select a few, now that few could be 30. Now I have just taken this number as an example. This could be 30, this could be 60, or this could be 110. The model still works. And in terms of finalizing the demand, I have kind of split the overall hiring entities into two groups: manufacturing industry and service industry. Of course, both in the pharma domain, but because they have different skill set demand, while today's academics is more like one size fit all. We definitely need that, but over and above, we need some alteration to make sure that the students are fit for either manufacturing industry or service industry. Now, which student wants to go to which particular department is their individual choice. I mean, some people don't like R&D, while some people want R&D. So we can figure that out, that which student can go to which kind of department. But it is essential that once he selects the department, he kind of sticks to that. So with that, if you, let's say, go to Eisen Pharmaceuticals, one industry name, they may say, look, it's not 30, but we need 20, maybe 3 in production, 4 in R&D, and so on and so forth. That's fine. As I said, the numbers are anyway indicative. And I'm not only stopping at employment, but if you look at the service industry, there are pharmacies, there are companies which do pharmacovigilance, there are companies which provide medical writing services. So these are kind of allied services, not core manufacturing industry from a pharma perspective. So it is not only the manufacturing industry which provides job, but also service industry that provides job. So with this step, which is the first step, once you have a working plan, which says, okay, we need 30 people. And obviously, this needs to be discussed with the respective HR department of the company. We have some number to work on. Now, it is possible that, you start with 30 and end up with 20, but that's fine because, finally, you have to have some baseline with which you will start. which will be again an input to your next year exercise. Then we go to the next step. This is extremely critical step. Numbers can go here and there, but this step is very critical. So this is where we start preparing a rating chart in terms of what the industry expect in terms of readiness of a student to be productive in the industry from day one. And we have split this into two sections, competencies and skills. So across departments, now as I said, one side doesn't fit all. So a pharmacology subject, R&D department will have a lot of focus. So if overall competency scale is of 10, they will require a student to score 9 if the student has to work in R&D. While production may not so much focus on pharmacology. Similarly, microbiology or biotechnology. While if you look at pharmaceutical engineering, R&D may not have a very strong demand for that skill set, that competency, but production will say, oh, minimum 6 on 10 is required. Or pharmaceutics, minimum 7 on 10 is required. So this is on the competency side. So you need to work with the industry to identify for each department from the topics that you teach to the student in about, your 40 topics in about 4 or 5 years, what is the maximum rating they would expect the student to have. Now, I have just put numbers here, indicative numbers. I have consulted some SME subject matter experts in the pharmacy side. But how to come to that level of 9 or what is meant by level 6 is something that detailing needs to be done. If you see on the skills side, instruments, hands-on experience. If you really look at, if the student has to go to quality department, the highest expectation is on the skill set where he is able to work on several instruments. And I'm going to take one example as we go further. But if you look at the quality and stores, they will also have focus on Microsoft Office tools, which is, expertise in spreadsheet, expertise in PowerPoint, maybe preparing Word report, etc., etc. So this is more on the manufacturing side, a company like, people who are producing, various medicines. While if you look at the service industry roles are more on medical writing, which is, tremendously high paying job. Pharmacies, if you want to be an entrepreneur and want to start your own pharmacy, or pharmaco governance, the pharmacovigilance. So these are the service industries and they will have a completely different set of requirements. So typical competencies required for these domains, if you look at pharmacology, all of them require minimum 6 to 10 or probably 8 or 9 on 10. So that's the core subject for them. But they are not so much focused on the analytical chemistry skills. They are not so much focused on pharmaceutics. And therefore, if there is a gap, we need to look at how we bridge those gaps. If you look at the sales and communication techniques, if you are running a pharmacy, obviously you need a very high level of sales and communication skills technique. Entrepreneurship. If you are going to do a job, that's not a requirement, but if you want to run your own pharmacy, and today we don't have a course which will teach how an entrepreneur runs his own business. Similarly, if you look at medical writing and pharmacovigilance, then they need to have a literature review capability, need to have the skills called literature review. So having defined, what kind of skill set and competencies at what level required, then we go back to drawing board and see what do we offer in the college. So in my course, let's say, B.Pharm, which is a 4-year course, our student is probably, rated on a scale of 10 at level 8. While the industry, if they are in R&D, they need to go to R&D. They need a level of 9 on 10. That means there is some gap that need to be bridged. And this is the gap that I was referring to. And then, we need to work out details in terms of how do we bridge gap, what topics we cover, when do we cover, etc. So that is an amber color, that the requirement from the industry is more than the level of student that we are able to deliver. While pharmaceutical engineering, more or less, if you are going into production, whatever you are teaching today is good enough as an entry-level job. or similarly the analytical chemistry that you teach is good enough in the quality department. Pharmaceutics, by and large, you are okay because all the 4 departments are saying that whatever knowledge the student has is good enough for us. When it comes to skills, you will see that there are more reds and ambers, even in production department. So if you look at, this instruments hands-on skill set, and I have given one example that today in most of the colleges, largely because of the budgetary reasons, the ability to invest, the current method to measure the flowability of the powders, we use glass funnel, cone, and area under graph, a conventional way. While if you go to the industry, they are using GADCO, which is one of the instruments or a flow meter, so to say. Not only that, you may have these kind of instruments, but today they could be only either analog in terms of dial-based gauges, while the industry is looking at IoT. And Dr. Devsarkar sir did touch upon, the AR, VR, augmented reality, virtual reality, Internet of Things, then artificial intelligence. So these are the areas that play roles in these instruments. And today, obviously the students don't have that kind of exposure. Similarly, if you look at literature review, very, very high requirement in R&D, while what we teach or what we are able to deliver to them as a skill to the students is extremely low level. And that's one reason why there is a big gap in terms of what you prepare as a student for employability is not really employable, because at the conceptual level they are good, but at the skill level they are not up to the mark. When I go to the non-manufacturing or more so on the service side, we see a similar picture, right? Most of your areas are green in terms of medical representation, pharmacies, pharmacovigilance, medical writing. But in terms of skill set, none of them is green. Almost everything is either amber or red. And that's why the new education policy gives a lot of focus on building these kind of skill sets. So these 3 steps, kind of give you an input in terms of what bridge courses for building competencies and what bridge courses to bring in skills are required. And that is where, you will come to know that the internships become important. Because tomorrow, though we know today that, we have GADCO as a skill set required, you can't suddenly, buy GADCOs and put it into your college. That's where you send the student to the industry, and during their vacation, they try their hands on the faculty at the institute, at the industry. They can give them that kind of hands-on experience. So the student will become more confident, in terms of handling various instruments. And then once this exercise is over, we should look at what are the competency courses that we need to develop, obviously in collaboration with the industry, and what are the skill sets that we need to impart, again, with the help of industry. So the competency courses can be covered during semester. So today, if you are teaching 5 subjects in a semester, maybe you have, 40 hours of per week of engagement. Maybe you need to make it 44 or 42 or 43 with a small bridge course to bridge those competencies. While between the semesters, you should have skill set development, either on the campus or sending them to the respective industry, so that at the end of 4th year, when you have a student, you have a fully ready student, at least for a particular trade that he has picked up. And when I say trade, trade means production department, quality department, and so on. So with this, if the faculty is able to take this model to the industry, sit down with them, have interactions, get their commitment and get their inputs, there will be a big industry collaboration, and it will be throughout the life of a student, throughout 4 years, not just MOU signing and putting, a signboard saying that we have collaboration with this industry, that industry, or maybe, some kind of a nominal lab, but something, a live, a document, a live exercise on an ongoing basis. And once you do this for one industry, you will find it difficult to start with. But, second industry, third industry, it becomes more and more easy. And then, we create the basics, but on top of that, we also add skills that will be useful both to the industry as well as to the student from getting the employment. So with that, I close my presentation because I want to have more interaction with faculty to see whether this is doable, what difficulties they face, what kind of student mindset they have seen, because my experience from student has not that been good. In one of the other institutes, we placed 93 students for internship on the IT side, and almost half of them discontinued internship for some or other reason. I can understand 2-3%, even up to 5%, due to personal emergencies can drop down. But I cannot understand, 50% of 93 discontinuing their internship. But that is largely because students' attitude. So with that, I open the forum for any questions. You can put your question in the chat box or, unmute yourself and ask me the question. If there are no questions, then I will give control back to Karande sir. Yes, sir. Dr. Ajit Kulkarni have raised hand. Sir, go ahead and ask the question.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, this is Dr. Ajit Kulkarni.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have heard your earlier session also regarding communication skills. That was also very fantastic and very informative. And
Thank
this
you,
was
sir.
also very informative and hitting the right spot. Sir, I have one query.
Yeah.
Regarding inculcation of different skill sets.
Yes.
What we are facing the problem regarding the input, what college is receiving, input in the context of quality of the students. Merely 40% passing is the eligibility to get admission to B Pharmacy course, and the attitude of the student towards teaching learning process regarding inculcation of different skill sets, it's very providing cold shoulders. So can you highlight or can you comment on how to improve attitude of such students?
The attitude that is developed over 18 years cannot be changed overnight, obviously. And that's, I mean, frankly speaking, I'm not a behavioral science expert, so I don't have a direct answer to this question. If I had, I would have changed even my son's attitude, but that's a different story. But my point here is, I understand that, all the students may not really have the inclination to get jobs and or start their own enterprise. And so in the beginning, I said we should pick and choose students who are willing to connect themselves to this program, commit themselves to the program. So those who are definitely interested in getting the job, absolutely necessary, because for a few students, we don't want to fail our model. We want to, in fact, make a model successful, because nothing succeeds like success. If you see 20 out of 40 students getting placed because of the model in the first year, or rather in the first batch, you will see that next year there will be 25. Then following year there will be 30. But we have to do some beginning somewhere. Obviously, I'm not saying that we should not work on changing the attitude of the students. But as I said, it's easier said than done, and I am not the right faculty to comment about it because I don't know how to do that. But the only via media I suggest is I will rather pick up students who are willing to commit, that kind of time and energy. And having said that, I also know that even if 20 students, commit in the beginning, maybe at the end only 15 will remain. But I'm happy with that because at least I'm now making sure that these 15 students get employment, and hope that next year the 15 will become 20.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
There is one question there. Auto, pharma, steel industry sectors, which were the leaders in the history, but why India is lagging on all these fronts? Okay. Steel, obviously, you know, we couldn't compete with China. That's a different ball game. There's a lot of politics behind it. Auto, obviously, you know, there are sectors in auto. I don't believe that we were anyway leaders. At best, we were probably leaders in terms of supplying components. But pharma, which is the most relevant topic today, you saw my presentations, right? There is a huge focus. In fact, I avoided some statistics because nobody remembers that statistics. But there is a huge focus from government. And you must have seen my first slide. We are the second largest contributor from a manpower perspective to the pharma industry, be it manufacturing or be it service industry. However, if we as in academics, if we do not take the leadership, we will even lose that number too. And I will tell you how and why, because even in IT, I see some of those trends, particularly you know, competition coming from our own friends in Asia Pac, which is countries like China, countries like Vietnam, countries like Cambodia. You know, they are the people who are decently good in English, extremely hardworking like us, and also eager to progress. So some of the work that we used to do in India, these are the characteristics that the IT industry needed. They also offered the same things, and a lot of BPO work, business process outsourcing work, moved from you know, India to Vietnam, to Cambodia, to China, because their labor is even further cheap. And therefore, if we don't take time, if we don't take timely action, we will lose even our number two. And then we will be ourselves responsible for lagging in these sectors. If you look at the FDI, which is a good indicator of what world looks at us, FDI is foreign direct investment. 74% is allowed now in the pharmaceutical industry because India believes that we need to attract you know, global money to develop our skill set. And there are good numbers in terms of the export that we do. The vaccines is a classic example of what we are showing to the world in terms of manufacturing. Where we are lagging, to your point, is the research and development work. So today, if you look at our R&D work, is very, very minuscule. In fact, negligible to what the other world is doing. But that is okay. I mean, to start with, that is okay. We are okay to keep our leadership in manufacturing, because that is where probably today our bread and butter is. And then, you know, once we get a leadership position, we should focus in reinvesting that money into R&D and then take a leadership role in R&D. Did I answer your question, sir? Devsarkar, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Then there is next question, skill development for students, organization, mindsets must work with hand in hand. Absolutely true. And that's why I, right from the beginning, I kept talking about student willingness to, you know, commit to this. This is really a commitment. So student joining this program, they will hardly have any vacation, because in the vacation, we are sending them to the companies between 2 semesters, short-term internships, while during the yearly gap, we are sending them to little long-term internships. But you know, my belief is if they work hard these 4 years, then they don't have to worry for the rest of their life. So it is their choice to enjoy now and, you know, worry later, or to work hard now and enjoy later. And to a certain extent, I believe the faculty also has a role to play in terms of convincing them to tell them the truth, give them some statistics, call their parents, call their friends, because, you know, students at this age are very strongly influenced by the friend circle rather than the parents and the relatives. And these kind of programs do help. Obviously, they do not change the mindset overnight. It's an ongoing process. And I hope the NEP, which enables this process with the new structure, not the original structure of 10 plus 2 plus 3, but the new structure of 3 plus 3 plus kind of will facilitate that. Is any guidance to the industries from government to provide facility to training students? Right now, there is no mandate. See, because government can't mandate manufacturing industry. They have to give recommendations. Industry can probably look at that. Government can give some incentives. So, for example, if we are insisting that to make a financial commitment from the industry. Now, government can possibly give grants, and probably Dr. Devsarkar is the best person to tell you what kind of grants are available to colleges and to industry through various government schemes. But that money should go as a stipend to the student, either through college or through the industry. I would rather prefer to go to the industry and then coming to the student, because that will build a good bond between industry and student. But I'm sure there are schemes. I'm not expert on this, or I have not done any research, but that is some good area for for the faculty to do some kind of a research, and that is where very, very important role for faculty. Lot of government schemes information, all of is available on the internet sites. There are helplines, there are departments to help, and that will play an important role in convincing student that this is the right model to go. There is one more question. How can we depute these students? How can we depute the students for pharma marketing company? Oh, in fact, pharma marketing companies will welcome this. Today, when I see, what is happening is, because of the consumer preferences, banking, pharma, retail, all these industries are welcoming people who are willing to commit time for sales and marketing, because it's a hard job. Retail selling is a very hard job, and you should look at some statistics published by the pharmacy industry in terms of medical representative, starting as a medical representative and leaving the career or the job in between, or taking up a different role, because it's a real hard work. It's a field force work, and therefore it's hard work. So if you say that my student is available, and in some of the syllabus that I design, I insist that you cover your theory subjects in 3 years if possible, by removing some of the unwanted subjects, by doing this heat map, and then give 1 full year internship to the student. I have tried that in IT industry. I'm sure it will work in pharmacy industry as well. That will be a most welcome, because you are practically giving a sales force at a stipend level. So if your industry cost is, let us say, 20,000 rupees to a trainee medical representative, with all allowances and all that stuff, and if that comes down to about 10,000, because he's a student, and you are training him, you are giving him stipend, their cost you are bringing down by 50%. So they will be more than happy to provide the internship at a stipend level. My experience in IT, some industries started with 10,000. After 3 months, they made it 15. After 6 months, they made it 20, because they saw that the students were doing good job. They were really productive, and they wanted to keep the students throughout the 1 year, and even make an offer at the end of last year. So students will definitely be welcome through the to the pharma marketing companies. If that is the objective for somebody to join, then we should also look at adding a course on digital marketing, because today that is gaining extreme popularity in the industry. Of course, there are conventional ways of sales and marketing, but on top of that, we should also look at marketing. So overall, I mean, I want to ask a question. This is a workable model. There is will you be able industry to make some kind of students? And this is open question. Anybody can answer either chat box or over voice. And I would particularly also request Dr. Devsarkar sir to give his opinion in terms of whether this is a workable model because of his vast experience.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, you want something to add in terms of internships, or I have not received question.
No, so my question was, sir, do you think this is a workable model, or do you think that there are some major flaws, those need to be addressed, or this is this has been tried and failed or tried and succeeded? Some view from academics perspective.
As far as internships are concerned, or
yeah, as far as industries are concerned, are they willing? Have we tried this model? Have we approached any industry with this kind of a model and say, this is what we can do for you? Are you willing to participate, in this model in adopting our students right from the day one?
yeah. So actually, the Board of Studies and the University Academic Council are very much liberal on inviting the industry to be a partner for typical subjects or course offerings.
Okay.
This is one thing. Second thing, that recently the CSR funding is diverted in the education system to provide the support for the internship or the student those who want to stay for in industry for a month or 2 or 3 during a year. So that support also the MHRDs or the Ministry of Higher Education is supporting to the graduating students. So especially to mention that the CSR fundings are diverted in education system.
That's
and the policy document, new higher education policy document also talks about to have this kind of money to be poured by the industry for internship. And the next important announcement by the government, particularly that there must be a internship, means the industry should provide the internships to minimum 30% student in their area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, based on the recommendation of the university or institution. So I think the legacy between industry and the institution should work together to have the model more successful one, because it is a give and take phenomenon approach.
Correct.
Yeah. And not only the internships to the student, but because I have not covered all the points or glimpses of higher education. Now it is made mandatory by the government that every teacher has to go minimum 3 months during 2 years of service span in the industry of repute, and which is recommended by the Board of Study and the Board of Governance of the concerned university or institution. So it is meaning that the industry has to accept the population which is expecting to arrive from the institution in industry. But on same account, the institution should also allow 30% of industrial experts in their institutions to see that whether the institutions are working with the industries in an appropriate way or not. Because see, the entire thing cannot be brought from the industry into the institution, because industry also wants something from the institution also.
Correct.
So this kind of models are expected to bond in this particular policy. And some mandatory disclosures are to be also supported by the policy, and which are essentially required to sign by both industry as well as by the institution itself. So making make you responsive and accountable also. So industry is paying money means then they will ask you that whether you have given return to industry or not. So that way, their IPR, patents, publications, that should be jointly work together, and the right of claiming this particular IPR or research is equally distributed among the industry and the institutions.
Yes.
So this is mentioned in the policy also.
Okay, very good.
Yes. Yeah.
There is a question from Dr. Sanjay Bhai.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. He has raised his hand.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I want to know what type of, as we know that the startup policies are started by the government of India.
Yes.
And under the startup program, various marketing companies, pharma marketing companies are established, newly established. So what are the policies of the university promoting such a startup marketing companies in providing the student or the manpower to such a companies?
Right. So, just to say that I am not from an, although I have a good connections with academics, I am not the university side expert. I am more on the industry side. So the university schemes, etc., probably Dr. Devsarkar sir is the best person. I will not have a view on, how to answer your question.
Okay, okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir,
Sorry about that.
Sir, in this regard, see the government of India, particularly the MHRD right now, they are insisting the universities and university departments to come forward to log in with the ideas or the Section 8 companies.
Okay.
Yeah. Those who have fulfilled the criteria as an institution or the university department, immediately the Section 8 companies are opened and the initial fund of 5 lakh will be deposited immediately within 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And then within a year, if they proceed further, another 50 lakhs will be deposited in the account.
That's a lot of money.
A lot of money are coming, provided, but there are no takers from the university or in the from the academic sides also. This is the dark side of this particular coin, that nobody is
unfortunate.
Because, yeah, unfortunate. In my own university, this Section 8 company is being launched 2 years before, but nothing happened.
Oh.
Because of
so,
the...
Sir, I want to ask you one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. Devsarkar sir. Hello.
Bola, namaskar.
Hello.
Go ahead, sir.
Sir, to such a marketing newly established companies, so whether it was started from 2 years before, so up till now, how many companies are given that much amount? Is there any progress made in that scheme?
No. Initial amount seed funding was given by the state government.
Okay.
Now it is the work of an individual institution or the department or those who are leading this portfolio. They should go to the industry and see what is the need of industry, and accordingly they should invite industry, or even they propagate the message among the students, those who work who want to work on the various ideas or projects. So if you have any proposal, you please send it to us. There is no ready-made platform for our giving money. You have to submit some proposal. The proposal will be thoroughly checked, and based on the merit, the group will be invited to go ahead.
So I think it is coming out strongly that there has to be more ownership from the faculty. And as Dr. Devsarkar has said, it's more like a 24/7 job now. No more 9 to 5 kind of a job. So constantly the institute has to be in your mind in terms of its growth, in terms of work that you can do. Then the resources will be available. But if we expect, the ready platter, that will never happen. And not only to pharma, but that is true for any industry. So thank you so much. I think it was a good interaction. A lot of questions came up, and I'm sure at least this model has started the thought process in your head. Hopefully, when you are able to spare some time, you will work on this. If you need any help, let me know. The organizers have my contact details. You can reach out to me directly or through them. So Dr. Dev Sarkar, Dr. Ajay Deshmukh, we are constantly in touch with each other on various subjects. So this could also be one of the subjects. So with that, I close my session and give the control back to Ms. Kailash Karandi.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It was really excellent session, and your insights on competency, skill set, working plan to bridge the gap. So it was really an excellent session. Now I request all participants to put on their videos. We want to have one screenshot. Please put on your videos, all participants. Okay, thank you so much. With this, I conclude that this session is over, and I am now forwarding my charge to Mukle sir. Over to Dr. Mukle sir, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Karande sir. And very good evening to all of you. Namaskar. So as we experience, all sessions was very informative as well as gives a very addition in our knowledge regarding the national education policy and its importance towards our self-development and the national development. In continuation with this, we are very much fortunate to have Dr. Ajay Deshmukh sir, who is a director, Center for Industrial Mathematics, Bhaskaracharya Pratishthan, Pune, as a research person for this faculty development program. Sir completed his BEME from HGGS College of Engineering and Technology in Nanded and PhD from IIT Bombay. Sir has more than 29 years experience in academics as a professor of instrumentation and control and as a principal of various colleges, engineering colleges in Maharashtra and the Gujarat. His area of interest is magnetic resonance imaging, specifically in the functional MRI and the cardiac MRI. Sir published 2 books in the Naurasa Publishing Company, Delhi, and the Tata Macro Hill Publication Company, Delhi. Sir also published 3 book chapters in Taylor and Francis and Bentham Science Publication Group, respectively. Sir organized more than 2 decades training courses to the multinational industries and the public sectors units on the diversified specialized topics. Sir also organized several training courses and organized various national and international conferences to promote science, technology, engineering, and mathematics for the benefits of the multidisciplinary faculty and the various research as well as the UG and PG students. Sir is on various professional societies and bodies as a secretary of International Society for Automation Pune section, chair of Signal Processing Chapter, IEEE Bombay section, treasurer of Indian Academy of Industry and Applicable Mathematics, visiting faculty at Bhaskaracharya Pratishthan Pune, and sir is also member of this very esteemed society's bodies. So on the behalf of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Technological University, Lonare, and Gauri Sankar Education Society's Satara College of Pharmacy, I welcome you, sir, for this faculty development program. And sir will interact with us with on topic entitled faculty development. So I welcome you, sir, and requested to you for further process.
Thank you, sir. Very good afternoon to all of you, Dr. Devsarkar sir and Ranade sir, and all the organizers, Sir Suryavanshi sir and Alurkar sir, all the participants. I'm not going to take much time. However, the important aspects in new education policy and also as per the need of an hour, the kind of changes which we want to development. So faculty development is the key issue today, which I'm going to address. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. So there are several challenges today, not only in terms of the qualifications of faculty members. Of course, it is becoming now minimum PhD qualification almost at the entry level, or maybe they give some time to complete the PhD. Of course, this could be achieved, and this was also achieved earlier, and people are trying to achieve this. There are some other qualifications which people they are recommending now. For example, the managerial component that is required, or the academic component, for example, like pedagogy. So very different pedagogies are to be addressed nowadays, and the courses like B.Ed and other courses, other similar courses which are there for the arts and science people. Now I think for school education specifically, those are also becoming essentially required. So some part of that, so people they have got with new pedagogy. The changes which are taken place in education, for example, online learning and learning management solutions. So today, almost without any teacher, also there are few courses which are available now, as far as online learning is concerned, and a student has to complete some formalities and minimum credits through these courses also, in addition to regular classroom or maybe live teaching like courses. So there are so many changes as far as the operational issues are concerned. The way in which teaching is happening, almost digital teaching is taking over the routine teaching. The kind of expertise that is required now, this is a key challenging factor, and I'm going to focus on this specifically, as it is true for engineering, science, pharmacy, or even any type of education, whether it is science or arts education even. So the basic domain knowledge so far, over a period of almost 30 years or so, people, those who are experienced to this extent, they have focused on the kind of domain knowledge which they have. For example, if somebody is there in a particular subject like biochemistry, then they are spending more time in the same subject, and perhaps there was hardly any need to collaborate earlier and try to learn other subject also. Of course, naturally it is required, and the industry demands, because industry doesn't go as per only single subject, so they need a combination of all the expertise, maybe multiple people they can recruit, and it becomes a teamwork. Now the transdisciplinary subjects which are as per national education policy, how do we implement? First of all, there is a lot of cross learning that is required. So people must go from one department to another. So a biomedical lab or analytical lab or biochemistry lab, or there could be maybe pathology lab or several other things, and your pharmacy laboratories could be clubbed in such a way that people have exposure. So if you have some expertise like in your subject, biochemistry, for example, so that becomes your own thing. So it is I. And then perpendicular to that, you will have a T-like structure where you are also talking about other subjects different than what you have done during your education or even during your experience. So we are trying to address how other subjects could be connected together to your own subject. And once it is a T-like structure, then it becomes a very, very stronger model. So this T structure is going to work hereafter, because if you are not able to express certain thing or not able to establish a dialogue between other disciplinary subjects, then perhaps nothing can happen. So the new education policy expects that we incorporate transdisciplinary subjects, and therefore now there is a lot of training needed suddenly. Actually, so many training programs are going on because we want to provide them very cross-disciplinary exposure. For example, instrumentation is there, analytical laboratories are there in pharmacy colleges. So if you want to design your own instrument, you need to learn something else. So there are many people who are there who are at user end, and they would like to design their own experimental setups, or somebody is there who wants to design their own laboratory or
Sir, you are not audible, sir.
yes, I hope now it is coming. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes. So yeah. So these kind of requirements have almost pushed all of us to learn the subjects which are other than, or those are at the periphery of our discipline. So this is one component in national education policy, where the training needs of the faculty are to be identified so that you are able to learn from the cross-disciplinary areas which are periphery to each other. And then the transdisciplinary nature, it indicates that you work together and simultaneously. That means you are having some subjects, subject expert like chemistry or biology, or somebody is there from instrumentation, from engineering discipline, or from maybe agriculture discipline, or from other disciplines. So cross-disciplinary people, for example, you bring them together, and then you try to explain them that this is the task and they have to perform it together. Then I think they have to form a collaborative and working together in a collaborative with different same or platform. So that becomes essentially required, and therefore almost 30 members that could be clubbed in a best possible way, and you can have a transdisciplinary expertise among people. So this is what I wanted to emphasize first, and then later on. Now this is true about laboratory also. The laboratories which you run perhaps not have not changed in several years, and even though there are very sophisticated equipment, instruments available in the laboratory. Now these laboratory grade instruments sometimes meet industry requirement, or sometimes those may not meet. And sometimes there are stringent regulations, like you must be aware of FDA and all the other legal pharmaceutical experiments or any of the discovery and kind of certification required. So these are almost coming in picture every day, giving expertise maybe this side or from the certification issues, and including the kind of drug discovery, the treatment, drug planning, and maybe some sort of experimentation like maybe MRI or animal MRI is there, or maybe on NMR instruments, operations of the drug. or in MR spectroscopy, somebody can find out what are the effects of the drugs for a period of time on the patient, and then find out what is exactly happening in the brain or wherever you want to observe. So functional MRI is there, or MR spectroscopy is there. You can localize the signal and find out where exactly the action of drug is taking place and how exactly the medical treatment is going on. So that gives a lot of deep insight into the subject matter. What is required is somebody has to understand the other domain of MRI, or maybe infrared spectroscopy, or maybe mass spectroscopy, or gas chromatograph. So these are the tools and techniques which you already have. Now robotics can play, or artificial intelligence with robotics can play very vital role in these laboratories, and sometimes it's not possible for human beings to carry out certain things. So those kind of experiments could be performed with the help of intelligent robot, and you can get the best possible outcome within less time. And there are some repetitive tasks which could be eliminated because a human being cannot do that. So these are some of the things, and traceability of the samples. In most of the testings which you carry out, the sample number of samples nowadays is huge in number, and how do you keep track of that, and how to provide the testing and certification of these drugs, these samples over a given period of time. So these are challenges. There are big data sets which are coming with the help of healthcare, maybe smart healthcare. We are in the era of industry 4.0, smart healthcare, and they need very different things. Now, the way in which patients are observed, the data will come from the wearable sensors and all, and there will be prescriptions, and then accordingly medicines will be delivered. So the drug delivery system itself will be changing. The economy of the whole pharmaceutical industry is going to be dependent on what kind of drug delivery methods are there, and which drugs are recommended and what is required. So there are several such challenges, and therefore we need to train faculty so that these subjects which are related to practical issues will come in the curricula. And it is not that once we add, but it keeps on continuing. So what is contemporary at that point of time has to at least address in the curricula by the expert professors, and that is how we can update with the uh, other surrounding changes. And if it is not done, then perhaps there is nothing which can happen, because the domain knowledge, how big it is, and how somebody is brilliant in their own domain area, unless we put it together and make it transdisciplinary, it doesn't make any sense as far as the applications are concerned. So more applied research in addition to fundamental research is essentially required, and people from different disciplines, like I do not know how many engineering people must be visiting pharmacy industry, or how many medical people will be visiting pharmacy company or pharmacy colleges. We can just start from the colleges. Like, who are the visitors? Can we invite some medical practitioners, or those who are working in some research laboratories, and those who do some sort of experimentation, even in engineering? So whether there are people, so if you want to design some instruments based on your own requirement, are there any dialogues established, or are there any symposia, conferences which addresses the need of the instruments which are required, and some of those instruments could be designed in maybe at low cost. So there are industry people who are going to sit together along with the academia and researcher, and that can provide much better solution. So there are so many updates which are there, and therefore my idea is that in spite of in which college, agriculture or engineering technology college or pharmacy college, or maybe any law college we are sitting, because law is also connected to most of the activities in all the disciplines, and this is going to be a part of every business. So how do we catch up these things? So this is because of the changes in the business, and because of the industry 4.0. So anything you talk about smart production, that is going to change the whole business. The way in which data is collected, big data, big cyber security, then maybe data analytics, and we are talking about so many other things like blockchain. And so these are some of the issues which are coming, and then we need to train our faculty on some of these areas, not all, but some of these areas. So teachers training is becoming much more challenging, because there are other disciplines which are to be connected, and how suddenly you are agile with other disciplines when you say that your subject is maybe chemistry or biochemistry, and then suddenly can you get connected with data science and otherwise maybe subject like distillation column suddenly, because there are some procedures in manufacturing drugs, and then you need to find out which methods are required there, and chemical reactions and also familiarity with several such disciplines is becoming the need of an hour. And at the same time, innovations, research are to be kept on, new pedagogical developments are to be incorporated. I think this is very important. Whenever we talk about any new method in teaching, that has a lot of meaning, and people they are happy with what is comfortable. For example, LMS modules. Now there are so many other things like MOOCs are there, online MOOCs, so people can learn. Now what is required is somebody has to mentor a student. Somebody has to, a faculty has to find out what is the best curricula, how the curricula could be updated. So these are some of the challenges, and working with industry. Of course, the instruments, equipment which you have in colleges, those may be very elementary versions. And then if you want to really practice on industry grade equipment, I think people should visit industry, find out what is there. So many companies like either Cipla or Lupin, or there could be Ranbaxy, or so many companies are there. And I think pharmaceutical industry needs to be addressed in most of the courses. At least few examples, few case studies, industry visits, sabbaticals for faculty as well as research scholars, and at least doing some particular work. So there are so many challenges because I think I visited some of the companies like Flamingo Pharmaceutical also in Mumbai long back in Rabade, and then we could find out that requirement of putting exact amount of the drug powder in the capsule is essentially the main important aspect of this kind of drug manufacturing, and then a PLC based control system. So this is engineering application, but the pharmacy and engineering are seen to be very closely working there in industry. So this Flamingo people were telling me, can you design a program which can easily facilitate our system, and the graphic user interface could be very much suitable to all of us. So at the same time, chemistry, biochemistry, drug development, manufacturing of drug and tablets, I think these are the aspects which should go together, and therefore transdisciplinary subjects which are definitely recommended in the national education policy, and at the same time pedagogical development. So I have focused on some of the points. Maybe if there are one or two questions, because already the time has overshot, but we can answer one or two questions.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So session is open for question and answer. So any participant have any
Maybe
questions, so they can ask directly, or they can put
even the sir can address something on how pedagogical developments are going on at university level, and how we can meet the needs of industry.
So participants are requested to put your questions in chat box or ask by raising the hand.
Yeah, I think in chat box there are no questions. If somebody want to ask, they can unmute the mic.
Yes. If participant directly want to ask the questions to the speaker, so they can ask directly.
There are so many participants, 77 people are here online. So that is a good thing. I think we should congratulate the organizers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So,
Thank you.
So thank you very much, sir, for your all the. I think Kavita Pawar raised hand. So please, Kavita Pawar, unmute yourself and ask your question.
No, sir. I don't want to ask any question. Sorry,
Okay.
sir.
Okay.
Nice informative session, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So thank you, Deshmukh sir, for giving all the insights
Thank you.
related with the faculty developments in the area of the drug delivery method systems, its challenges and solutions by using the various, I can say, the advanced or the modern sophisticated analytical instruments and the various ICT tools also, the artificial intelligence like that, and also giving some direction for the faculty development from the fundamental to the applied research. So with this, I conclude that this session is over, and for the further, I requested Dr. Suryavanshi sir to take the charge.
Thank you, Dr. Mukti sir. Thank you, Dr. Deshmukh sir, for
Thank you.
very nice informative session, sir. I request some of the participants to give feedback. Anybody wants to give the feedback? Okay.
Yeah, Professor Alurkar sir, maybe what are your views on this kind of transdisciplinary subject? Maybe little bit interaction between we 3-4 experts may help participants. Professor Devsarkar is here from university, and you are heading the institute in Satara. And
So this is basically need of hour, and we are also doing the work in that direction. So we are,
yeah.
But we are doing the work with Ayurvedic people basically. But in coming years, we will surely go with engineering people also, because like ATM, we can have the anytime. The drug dispensing machines also we can develop with the help of engineering people.
Yeah. Like some spectroscopic methods we can easily develop with the help of some engineering, like FTNMR or some instruments we can easily assemble. There is a big scientific community who can help us along with industry. Colorimetric studies, flame photometers.
So we use these machines regularly for our practicals, but we haven't given a thought in that direction. But through after your lecture, we have come to know that we can give a thought in that direction also.
Yes.
The different areas are now opened up to have a discussion through this platform. Rightly mentioned by the speakers, particularly in the morning session, the previous session, to have some program which provides you the hands-on training, particularly to pharmaceutical teachers and pharmaceutical students. I think we should connect with the pharmaceutical leaders and we'll bring them here on this platform so that the real concerns will be discussed along with this expertise. As in today, just we have discussed only the policy and the teaching methodology and the necessary skilling or industry connect. That is okay, but I think we should bring the experts from the pharmaceutical domain. Let us suppose the leader from pharmacy, particularly Cipla or Glaxo or many more industries in Pune, pharmaceutical industries. I think we'll bring these particular leaders to have an interaction with the teachers of pharmacy.
Yes, I think tomorrow we have Dr. Radhika ma'am. She was the director of Lupin, and in some other session. Yeah.
No, even the all pharmaceutical institutions should plan in a group and have these kind of programs regularly in their institution. And for that, university will support for their remunerations or the funding as far as the program is concerned. But nowadays, for online, it is very easy for all of us to bring the experts at your door. So let us work together. Let us submit the proposal. Professor Alurkar, I request you to see that at least 10 different pharmaceutical leaders, they should connect with all pharmaceutical colleges through this particular platform.
So on the eve of National Pharmacy Week, we have conducted such kind of program, sir, but it was self-financed, and
Okay.
people from India as well as US
Good.
have addressed to the audience, and there was huge audience, and we conducted this 14 sessions for our faculty. But henceforth, we will submit the proposal to you for sanctioning. Surely, we will call the people not only from our country but from abroad also, sir.
Yeah, surely. Because see, last year I think last semester we have helped for providing the support of to the tune of 3 lakh rupees per institution. Through World Bank, I have supported around 15 institutions by giving the support of directly 3 lakh rupees per project. However, the university also have supported many institutions. I don't know about pharmacy, but if not, then please bring it to the notice of our authority. You must write the proposal as from the desk of your dean, and let us connect.
So proposals are ready. Can I send it to you?
You can send it to me. I will again have to have an interaction with my authority, particularly Vice Chancellor, and definitely we will see. Yeah.
33 proposals are ready, sir.
Okay.
On NMR, you want to do anything, Dr. Alulkar? We have a very good number of scientists who are working at different laboratories in India, national laboratories and IIC Bangalore or NCL, NPL, so or IITs also. So those people are available for magnetic resonance, nuclear magnetic resonance. Yeah, I think
even
there are so many pharmaceutical experts.
Even the one program which is very recently launched in IIT Kanpur. You will surprised to see that the program is for a master program in biomedical engineering, where the graduates of engineering as well as graduates of medicine, MBBS, and pharmacy are allowed to be a part of this particular program, provided that they should fulfill the requirement as per the national eligibility test to be a part of that program. And these programs, pharmacy, medicine, and engineering, all these 3 disciplines are allowed. These students from 3 disciplines are allowed to be a part of that program. Biomedical engineering, wherein all the drug delivery, then the remedial mathematics required for pharmacy, human anatomy, and the pharmaceutical organic chemistry, biochemistry, biomedical pathology, computer applications in image processing or MRI, and many more things particularly are being taught under this particular program. I think we should have the awareness program by inviting the professor from IIT Kanpur and IIT Mumbai, especially on these particular programs, to make awareness among the teachers of pharmaceutical sciences and students of the pharmacy. Very few teachers are knowing on this activity.
Sure, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Now I'm here to propose vote of thanks. I, Dr. J. Suryavanshi, in the capacity of IQC coordinator of our institute, take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks. At the outset, I express my sincere thanks to Honorable Dr. S.B. Devsarkar, sir, coordinator of TEQIP3, D. Batulunare, to grant us to conduct this EFDP. I'm grateful to Dr. Ajay Deshmukh, sir, who constantly supported to conduct this EFDP within a short period of time. I'm thankful to all the respected resource persons who have not only spent their valuable time, but also nourished our brains with the important aspects of NEP. Thank you so much, sir. I'm grateful to Honorable Principal Dr. N.H. Alulkar, sir, for giving constant support, motivation to organize this EFDP. Further, I'm very much thankful to all the principals of various pharmacy and engineering institutes for their active presence for this EFDP. I express my deep gratitude for all the participants, delegates, teachers who have participated for this, who are registered and participated successfully for this EFDP. Thank you all. And finally, I'm thankful to my colleagues, Dr. Sudke sir, Dr. Gilda sir, Dr. Karande sir, Dr. Mokle sir, for being chairpersons for all the respective sessions. Thank you all. And hereby declare that this session is over. I request all the participants to start your video so that we can have a final photograph, and the link for the feedback will be shared very soon on the WhatsApp group. Thank you very much. Namdo sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, all.
थँक यू आलुरकर सर. आपण भेटूया उद्या.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes.
sure.
आपले काय 4 प्रोग्राम ठरले
Yeah.
तुमचे?
Oh,
हा पाच
पाच, sir.
प्रोग्राम येतात.
टोटल 5 आहेत का? ओके ओके, काय प्रॉब्लेम नाही, आपण घेऊया.